wanted to go over. For those of you all who are just joining us, it's Global Entrepreneurship Week, and we at NEDCO have joined in the observation of Global Entrepreneurship Week. This week we held several activities during every day this week. We had free business consultations where entrepreneurs were allowed to explore business idea generation. They were provided with assistance for their business plans. They were able to talk to our loan officers for quick loan approvals. And we were really happy that hundreds of persons applied. We could only have accommodated a limited amount, but we were happy to be able to speak to those that we could. Oh, and we are back up now. So without any further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Joseph Morrison to begin his presentation this afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon again to the moderator, Ms. Jordan. Good afternoon to Ms. Hadad, the Chairperson of the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And good afternoon to the audience of listeners today. All right, I see my slides are up, so I'll go straight to the second slide. Now, NEDCO stands for the National Entrepreneurship Development Company. It is an agency of government started in 2002 and is currently under the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service. At NEDCO, we offer business advisory and training services. We also offer loans and currently the Entrepreneurial Relief Grant. Next slide, please. Can we go to the next slide? Great. So there are 5 NEDCO branches throughout Trinidad and Tobago. We have in at the Savannah in Port of Spain, San Fernando, Tunapuna, Chaguanas, and of course the Tobago branch, which is at Glen Road, number 2 Glen Road, Tobago. Right, so we want to go this afternoon straight into our discussion on the impacts of COVID-19 on entrepreneurship. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic is a sanitary and health crisis, and that's important to note. It's a health and sanitary crisis that affects billions of people, and therefore has been an unprecedented downturn. Someone's mic is not muted, could you? Thank you. Right, there's been an unprecedented downturn in the global economy. Upwards of 40 million persons in the US would have lost their jobs over the past year. And that is going to have an impact, a severe impact on global supply chains. It has already started to have a serious impact on global supply chains earlier this year. But in other words, the supply of goods essential for your business could be negatively impacted. Because of the pandemic, each entrepreneur will need a different action plan depending on the sector and industry. So for example, online shopping, food delivery, video conferencing, and video gaming, those industries might be booming now, whereas the hotel industry, guest houses, restaurants and bars, car rentals, and of course preschools are severely challenged. So you find that the losses in the challenged sectors could range from 50% to even 100% of revenue. And then you have the uncertainty as to the end of the crisis, which tends to dampen and discourage the entrepreneurial fighting spirit. Next slide, please. Right. So as a basic reminder, your company needs these 7 things to be profitable and sustainable. Number 1, effective leadership. Now, whether you're a sole trader, a partner, or a majority shareholder of a limited liability company, when you get off your bed every morning, you have to recharge your batteries. You have to find the courage and the passion to motivate yourself and your company to drive vision, innovation, and persistence in order to find the pathway for your success as a company. You also need to be an expert in how your company creates value for your customers. You need a ready market for your products and services. As an entrepreneur, you have to be constantly looking for ways to innovate on your products and services to keep them attractive and competitive. You need efficient and effective business operating systems, from your purchasing to your marketing to your accounting, and of course your feedback mechanisms, which is where you get feedback from your customers on how the business is impacting their lives and how efficient the business is, your costing, your pricing, your customer service. You need to get that feedback from your customers. On the HR side of it, you need to have trainable and reliable staff, people who you could rely on to move your company forward. You also need adequate equipment or facilities. We talk about virtual businesses, but even online businesses need fast and reliable computer services. They need secure servers. You need to keep updating their security all the time, right? Computers, software programs that work and they don't crash on you every morning you get up, right? They're reliable for you and your customers. And of course, those important facilities offered by the banks, the e-commerce banking facilities. Because even if you're not online now, if your business is not fully online now, you still want to have the capability at some point where customers could pay for their goods online, because that's the way the world is going. And you need to be on top of those trends. So the seventh thing is, of course, money or access to capital. When you come to NEDCO, we take the time to discuss from points 1 to 6 with you. Not just, we come to get a loan or, we come to get a grant and then we delve straight into that. Because to develop an entrepreneur, we need to look at the first 6 before we even get to the 7th. Let's look at the next slide, please. Thank you. Right, so here are a few tips for entrepreneurs to manage this crisis. Yes, you may feel that it's the end of the world, but keep playing to win, not just to survive. Even someone needs to mute their mic so everyone can hear. Please. Thank you. Even hibernation, which is shutting down your company to minimize losses, might be an effective tool to use or a survival tactic that could lead to success down the road. Because by doing so, you actually minimize your expenses, you reduce your capital outlay for a while until you can get going again when the market is up and running. Now that may not work for everyone, but in some cases, it may be the option to choose. The second point is accessing your own data to remodel the business. And when I say accessing your own data, it may seem simple. Why you ask the question? Why would you need to access your own data? What's so difficult, I should say, in accessing your own data, right? But the truth is, many times clients come to NEDCO and you ask for records of how you did in your peak season sales, what your expenses were in the slow times, and they really don't have that information because they never took the time to record the information. And now that you need to plan, it's important that you have that information so you can chart the way forward. Information like how your better customers pay, right? Or how much they spend, and what they buy from the company. What their preferences are. That information also helps you to fine-tune your offering. So rather than before where you had a variety of stock and maybe a preponderance of stock that was moving too slow, you want to fine-tune that now to speed up your cash flows, right? So if you don't have that information, it will be difficult to make accurate predictions in order to remodel the company. Now, record keeping is easier than you think, and NEDCO definitely offers training courses in this area. So it helps the entrepreneur, develop not only the mindset, but the capability of understanding the systems and processes they could put in place to maintain accurate records. You need to sit with your financial institutions to determine what facilities they offer to assist during the economic downturn. You don't want to really wait until, things running slow and you're having difficulty in terms of meeting your monthly obligations before coming in to meet with your financial institution. What you really want to do is to sit with your financial institution early up and have a discussion. For example, if you have a loan with us, you come and find out what your daily interest is, because the daily interest solution is someone might me. Yeah, so your daily interest accrual actually allows you to understand how much interest is accruing on that loan balance or credit facility you have. And as a result of you know how much you need to pay extra in order to reduce your principal. Right? That helps. Especially if you want to work out a situation of reduced payments. You could also find out whether your loan could be rescheduled. Right? Again, as a formal way of reducing the payments on the loan, which does not affect your credit rating. And then you could also look at the deferral of payments, right? Whether your payments could be waived, to what extent, and finally, of course, whether you can access a grant as to what NEDCO currently offers. You need to investigate your supply chain. That is, the people who supply goods necessary for the operation of your business. Try to find out what challenges they are experiencing and how it will affect your business. Do you need to find more reliable suppliers? You might need to be proactive in that regard. You also need to develop your online presence. You could use review and discuss tactics. For example, let's say you are a caterer, right? Or you have a restaurant. You might want to create an online presence where you discuss daily recipes, the calories involved for Weight Watchers. If you're into cosmetics, you might want to look at makeup. What type of makeup to use on oily skin, and you encourage your clients to discuss, right? And you bring your expertise to bear, so you build that relationship with them. Again, NEDCO offers training on simple things you could do to take your business offering online. Next slide, please. So you want to develop your online payment and delivery channel, so you could visit your bank to discuss e-commerce. You also want to improve your expertise, right? And when I say that, NEDCO offers training courses in areas like excellence in customer service, managing staff, and cash management. We also offer advisory sessions and webinars on other crucial topics. So it helps develop you as an entrepreneur, in your knowledge base. Look at your product or service, and you could employ what we call painkiller tactics in order to make it easier for your client to access your products and services. You remove the pain, so to speak, of accessing the products and services. So you might want to look at shifting business operation hours on some days to suit the majority of your clients, developing catalogs for easy review of what you could offer, or even a cost-efficient delivery strategy. Then finally, you want to use government guidance to develop and maintain a robust COVID-19 policy to protect yourself, your employees, and your clients. So that will include the wearing of your mask, your hand sanitization, using gloves to handle cash and documents, and of course, regulating of the services in use. Next slide, please. Can we have the next slide, please? Right. So it can't be business as usual, right? Even before the COVID pandemic, NEDCO was one of the few institutions willing to lend partially secured loans to startup entrepreneurs. The commercial banks generally lend to entrepreneurs with proven favorable cash flow and capital over at least 2 years, right? Bank statements and everything to support that, your cash flow, 2 years. During the pandemic, NEDCO would have enhanced its offering to entrepreneurs, whilst the commercial banks would have significantly reduced their risk appetite. But more importantly, from the branch to the head office level, NEDCO also always holds the hands of the entrepreneurs, offering advice and training that are second to none. NEDCO staff also help the entrepreneur to develop their business plan and financials, unlike that of the other financial institutions, where you may pay thousands of dollars only to be told that your business plan is not feasible. So our doors are still open, even right now for the entrepreneurial relief grants. And this has provided significant debt relief to our existing loan clients. Currently, we are evolving our policies, right, and making proposals to our line ministry to develop more, or I should say, to evolve our loan policy in such a way that we will be able to provide more assistance to persons who are negatively impacted by. So we currently have a package for the season. Next slide, please. Where you can seek to borrow a small loan between 15,000 and 75,000. Next slide, please. And for a maximum of 3 years, you could choose from 1 to 4 for entrepreneurial development packages, which feature, final slide, please, our training workshops and advisory sessions from starter to ultimate, right? So the starter packages will offer entrepreneurial training workshops. All the packages offer entrepreneurial workshops, as well as business advisory sessions and training. Right, you have free advice sessions as well. So I think that in a nutshell is my presentation to you today. Thank you very much. And I'll pause over to the moderator. Ms. Jordan? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison, for such an enlightening presentation. Indeed, it cannot be business as usual. And I am certain that the information shared this afternoon will assist the entrepreneurs who are with us today. Please allow me now to introduce our second presenter, Ms. Diane Haddad. Ms. Haddad is the owner and managing director of Jade Distributors Limited and Jade Technologies Limited. She is also chairman of the Tobago division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Ms. Hadad is a self-directed entrepreneur with over 30 years experience in sales, marketing, branding, and distribution. Her strengths include strategic planning and partnering, public relations, competitive marketing strategy, stock and inventory control, employee training and development, and organizational change, development, and enhancement. Ms. Hadad believes in hard work and creating a company that thrives despite the current challenging economic environment. She has single-handedly developed and managed over 100 product lines for wholesale and retail distribution throughout Tobago, amounting to over 40 million TT in sales per annum. As you can see, we are indeed among esteemed company this afternoon, and this augurs well for our topic of today. It is with great pleasure that I now invite Ms. Hadad to join our discussion of developing entrepreneurship in a global pandemic. Ms. Hadad.
Are you seeing me?
No, we are not. We are not seeing you as yet.
Okay, but the camera is on.
Yes, you can see her.
Are you seeing now?
Yes, we're seeing you now, Ms. Hadad.
And you're hearing me?
Yes, and we're hearing you well.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Ms. Jordan, moderator for today, and Mr. Joseph Morrison, NEDCO's Tobago manager, and to a great audience that I see here today. let me say that all of those great things that were just said comes to the point where we have been all equalized as of COVID-19. COVID-19 has brought the world to a point of, I call it, equality. And because COVID-19 has brought the balance to all of us, I want to say to all of you that are participating, this is your opportunity to, COVID-19 has brought us to a stop. So this is the opportunity for you to reset and to restart. Because it did not matter the size of our businesses or our wealth, COVID-19 has hurt everybody. And that being the case, I think it gives a great opportunity to the people who carry certain qualities. And those qualities, which Mr. Morrison would have shared with you in terms of success, comes from a fighting spirit. They also come from good leadership. And one of the things that I know all of us needed to be at this time was leaders in different roles, not just leaders to salvage our businesses, but we actually had to carry the role of leading our teams, no matter the size. We had to be the brave ones. We had to be the fearless ones to keep the spirit alive during COVID-19. Otherwise, your entire opportunity and operation would have gone into what you call fear zone or the fear factor, and nothing kills anything faster than fear. So effective leadership carries some strong positions. And that first one I want to speak about, that Mr. Morrison did speak about, is you are not entitled to sick leave. You are not entitled to days off. You are not entitled to any of that, particularly at this point in time. This is the regeneration of our economics and our whole world. And therefore, we all have a role to play in ensuring that we get up on a morning and start with our spiritual base, whatever that base is represented through. And then we must move on to put in the thought patterns in, followed by the action. The action in this case is that expert knowledge, I don't think anybody has expert knowledge now in a pandemic, because anybody who survived the last pandemic and is here with us, I wish them well and I want to meet them. So because they're not present, it means this is our experience of a pandemic. And it's the first for everybody in the world that we live in. And so I don't know that there is a card or a book that has the answer. What I do know is it is of deep spiritual basis that we are going to overcome this. And it is from that inner strength that we are going to rise and be the leaders that need to be to come over it. So we need to be, as entrepreneurs, the shining light that says to our families and our staff that we are getting up and going out there no matter what, in spite of. We have to be sure that we are encouraging our people around us to take care of themselves, and so the health factor becomes very important. One of the things that I thought needed to happen, and I would like to ask you in your own small capacity, is because Mr. Morrison did say it, COVID is attached to cleanliness. It's about sanitization. It has a lot of that conversation going on. And therefore, because of that, let's start by cleaning our physical spaces. Let's start by cleaning whatever our business is, no matter how small. This is the opportunity to stop and get everything organized. Just as you heard before, how do you get all your paperwork? Everything has slowed down. So because everything has slowed down, you now have the opportunity to get all the things that you were scrambling to get in order, to use the time wisely to get it in order. In order to move through this type of environment, I am certain there are going to be many factors that are going to affect us. What are they? The supply chain, in terms of whether we are going to be able to get supply that we would have enjoyed in the past. Not just for you, the small entrepreneur, medium entrepreneur, but for the world as a whole. Every time a country shuts down, manufacturing goes under. The productivity rate changes. And because Trinidad and Tobago is at the end of that food chain and that production chain, and we have never gotten to develop as a nation to be self-serving or self-producing or taking care of ourselves in a high capacity, we become part of a bigger problem in terms of how we manage that. So getting the right leadership skills, having the knowledge, I want you to take the time to use it now to get your paperwork in order. Take all of the training that you would have had. And so I don't know that anybody who sits behind a desk can tell you who gets up and goes out there every day and struggle to get your income, how to fix your problem. What I do know is that if you continuously get up and go out there and put your effort out with the right tools that the person behind the desk suggests, which would be discipline, which would be the setting of your targets, which would be understanding your customer base, which would be going and doing visits to your customers, which would be taking the opportunity for the slowdown for you to be able to think out of the box. Those things are going to get you a little further. But from the everybody speaks of let's go online and let's go more online. As it stands now, I don't know that Trinidad and Tobago is as online capable as we should be. And so we are finding that we have crashes all the time in the system. So even large companies, and I don't want to call any, but I know that you are trying to pay your bills online and you still get calls of something being cut off, whether it's your internet or your telephone, and they're telling you that you did not pay, but you actually did pay online. So while we are pushing the online purchasing and the online advertising, one of the disadvantages is every time you have to stop to prove that you did a payment, you have just swallowed up one of the most important things right now for you, which is your time. And I want us to understand that use of time right now is crucial to the getting out of the holes that have been created and then leveling the playing field to get up and grow. So this is no easy formula. It is no, it's in a book, go read it and implement it. This is about an inner part of us that needs to be determined to overcome. So the three watchwords of Trinidad and Tobago are discipline, tolerance, and production. So most importantly is we have to be disciplined to get up every morning and go after what we are about. We have to be tolerant about the environment that we are in, because there are demands of what the environment demands or calls for right now. And we have to be extremely productive. What does that mean? That may mean that we have to either go longer hours. That may mean we have to change the formula that we operate with in terms of how we have staff on board. That may mean that the owner or the entrepreneur themselves have to put out more. But let us not take those as negatives. Let us take those as growth patterns for your personal development and the ability of the human being. Many times we deprive ourselves and say, that's too much, or I'm tired. I want us to understand that those are mindsets. Those are things that we have programmed in this computer that's on top of our neck. And we need to reprogram it now and recognize that, one, we are human. Two, I want to change what human is. Human is not, I'm only human. I want us to change it that because I'm human, I am of the highest life form on earth. And then I have the ability to achieve anything that I think about. So it is from that perspective that I want us to start to think. Speaking about money, to understand that please don't feel that the bigger the company, the better their chances to survive COVID-19. Each one of us are affected because we are all interconnected. If we have the job losses that we speak about, and money is not circling because there's no job availability in terms of people earning, then the man who doesn't earn cannot pay his mortgage. He cannot pay his higher purchases. He cannot buy food. He cannot pay his TNTEC or TSTT or Digicel or other bills. And therefore, the plus things that we speak about, which may be clothes, cosmetics, the food, the shoes, all the eating out, those things have just gone lower down on the list. So because those things are lower down on your priority list for spending, it means then that we have to continuously push for generation of productivity so that our country continues to earn. And the only thing to create productivity is the human being. So if the human being understands that, the human being has to understand that they cannot go and hide under a rock for COVID-19. In fact, we need to rise above it and fight that we are going to pursue success. So the money aspect of it is where this thing filters through the system of affecting each other. So if the man on the street doesn't have money, or if he's not on the construction site and he's not thirsty because he's out in the sun, he doesn't go by the parlor or the shop to purchase a drink. He's not outside, so he doesn't go by the roti people or the tanty who's selling food down the road to buy lunch and then buy a drink with it and then go to the bakery and put up a bun or something. So because they are not out there moving and functioning, the spend is less. Once the spend is less, everybody hurts. We have lockdown borders, and therefore, because we have lockdown borders, nobody's coming in. If we don't have Trinidad come into Tobago, the only money that's going to be spent on the island is the check from Trinidad that is given to the THA. And that money will only be spent by, of course, they're committed to their loans and mortgages and so on. So let us understand, and I want us to understand this part really clearly, that it is most important for all of us to use our creative talents, our creative juices, and that we get up to get. Now, one of the things that would need to happen to make this work is that the existing people on the island as the business community support you entrepreneurs in whatever you are going out there to do. That is for people who do anything in manufacturing and so we become the people to help you sell it or to carry it on your shelves or whatever. The other aspect of that is when you are going to do whatever you need for your business, you have to determine what are your costs and how can you contain that to ensure that you are able to get past all of it. I do not know that we're in a profit-making time, and I don't know that I can sit here with good conscience and encourage anybody to say, oh, you're going to make a set of money. I'm saying that right now we are in getting out of a whole mode, so it's survival. And if we get to that point, really well disciplined with proper systems and procedures, accountability and data, and we use the time for that, it is going to give us the lessons that we all need to face financial institutions at a larger scale. Because my understanding is NEDCO gives, well, Mr. Morrison just said 15,000 to 75,000 special loans now. They are giving grants. but then you have a first-time borrowing of 250,000 was there lower, and then there's a cap at 500,000 for people who would have grown. My point here is, although funding is available to you, one of the things that we do not do is ensure that we borrow properly enough to ensure that we make our business. So the calculation of what I need for raw materials, the length of time I need to sell, the collection of my money to turn it back over into raw material, the amount in order to make sure that I'm not scrambling and I'm not the person running to buy the boxes and then running to buy the bottles and then running to buy the leather and then running to go and make it and then running to try and sell it. You have to sit and work out where your talent lies best. And after that, what do I need to do to ensure that I reach other people? And how do I structure my business? So it means a lot of thinking time. And there's no set formula. Each person here, or each person that NEDCO interacts with, is going to have a different thinking pattern. And it is through that I want you to use that so that you develop how to maneuver through this. Right now, we all need to be circus performers. We all need to cartwheel. We all need to walk on a tightrope. We all need to be clowns because we need to keep doing it while we go through it. We all need to carry all the different personalities to ensure that we overcome. The smaller businesses which NEDCO appeals to, you have had the opportunity for grants. My question to you, I'm putting it out there because there's not very much answering, is that have you been able to analyze when you get that grant, what was the best use of it in order to get you sustained and then get up to invest to move on? Did you need to diversify a bit? Did you need to get into things that were connections to your business? So if you are in, let me say you were in leathercraft and you were doing slippers, and you decided, okay, I now need to go into, people may not be buying slippers now, not too many people going out anymore, so it may not be handbags. Do I need to go into belts? Do I need to make simple earrings? What did I need to do? Did I need to shift from leather and go into another material? The people who have the ability to sew, do I need to sit and create and use that talent a little more in my business? What we keep seeing is many people are just going into food because somewhere they think, well, we all have to eat. But even in our eating choices, when you don't have money, you actually start to cook at home and then you choose what you eat. So we have seen that the whole basics are coming down to people buying and spending money in a lot of basic items. So at this stage, one of the biggest issues that will come before not you alone that are members of NEDCO family, but that will overcome the entire business community is the money. How and when do we access funding? The formulas that have been out there cannot continue if we are to get past COVID-19. The formulas that are out there need to be relooked at. And well, I want to say at chamber level, we are starting and have been pushing and driving that this needs to happen from government levels, and that needs to filter down where we get creative. So we cannot do business as usual in terms of you have to have 25% or 20% or whatever. It really comes back to the good old banker who, because you had good character and had a background that you proved who you were before, that you now are entitled to what I want to term a chance to get up and go again. And NEDCO did say that they help you write your plans and go through that so you don't have that cost to go through. But I want us to not be too stingy in doing what the actual access of the funds are, so that you entrepreneurs understand that COVID-19 has already taken us through all of 20, and clearly we are going into COVID-21. And because of the unknown, we must sit and think long term in terms of when we are planning this business strategy. So it seems to be some type of graph that has a minus. It will get us to 0. Am I over? Is my time up?
Just about the time, yes.
Okay, so, get us to 0, which is out of the hole. Then you stick on a platform of survival, and then you start to creep to get back to where your first and goal and dream was. So that being the case, I want to urge all of you to really understand that if it means now getting up at 4 in the morning and going to bed at 9 at night and change your shift, whatever it takes, this is about the stability and the determination of mankind. And we need to overcome it like that, where we go to the houses that are available to us, the NEDCOs and whichever entities that you're a part of, and we recognize that their formula has to have, of course, adjustments, and then we go from there with all the other positive qualities that you in business have chosen must carry out. Your credibility is going to go a long way. So let us work on those things, and let us see how best as an entity and a country we can hold hands and move together. Thank you.
Indeed, COVID-19 has hurt everyone. Thank you, Ms. Hadad, for sharing your depth of experience with us. You have been at the front lines, as they say, living and breathing entrepreneurship for 3 decades. And we are extremely grateful for the knowledge you shared with us today. At this point, I just want to ask Mr. Morrison to just come back on and continue the discussion a little bit, because we are exploring not just the challenges, but the solutions that various entrepreneurs can pursue. Mr. Morris will just speak to us now a little bit about some of the success stories and the way that the Tobago branch and in extension the rest of NEDCO have been working with our entrepreneurs as they maneuver through the global pandemic. Joseph?
Okay, thank you, Francisca. And NEDCO has been visiting our existing client base almost on a daily basis, right, at all the branches, and to talk a little bit about some of the experiences we've had, right? We've been seeing instances where entrepreneurs would have had to close because they're operating from a retail outlet within a mall setting, and therefore they had the mall closed, so they had to close their operations for a while. We would have met with entrepreneurs whose business, in terms of the employees, right? Some of them would have or would have had to go under quarantine, and their business was affected. A variety of concerns. And one of the things we recognize in terms of our discussions with our entrepreneurs is that it really calls for thinking out of the box to find some of the solutions, right? In some cases, we've had entrepreneurs who would have made arrangements with TT Post to deliver to their customers, right? Some of them who were on the mall and the malls would have closed, they had to now look through their records, see if they could find telephone numbers for some of their more prolific customers in terms of purchases, reach out to them and try to pick up the line now. And all those things are quite in line with what Ms. Hadad has been saying as happening outside there, right? And it's how we as entrepreneurs try to find our way, right? Not as business as usual, but come up with more innovative ways to meet our customer demand and also to source our products, right? We've seen situations where entrepreneurs had been challenged by suppliers in terms of the company, right, that they got the supply from the US actually closed down. And then they had to find a way now to actually find new suppliers within they were able to look around and find suppliers within the Caribbean region. Not all the time it was palatable in terms of the cost of the supply, right? But they were able, sometimes they had reductions in their margins in terms of their profitability, right? But those challenges, in most cases, they were able to surmount the challenges. And in some cases, they weren't able to, because we would have met with persons handling preschool, right, from our existing client base. And we had to work out payment arrangements with them, right, because they were unable to find a way through to effectively deal with that type of operation or continue that operation in the face of the lockdown and the regulations. So whilst they would have kept in touch with the parents and so on, right, there would have been difficulty in providing like online classes to preschoolers and things like that. So you find that we'd have had to provide services in terms of training, right, sometimes even broadening the scope. I've seen in the papers yesterday where Jenny's on the Boulevard, who is well renowned for her restaurant and bar services, has actually leveraged the expertise of an international chef, right, that she has, who's pretty well versed in baking products and services. And she has sort of diversified her business now into offering baked goods, right? So all around, as Ms. Hadad said, there's that need for services and innovation, right, that will actually help you to survive and, give you a reason to get out of bed every morning, right? But that has to come from, as you said, that spiritual drive, that internal spiritual drive. So at NEDCO, we stand ready to assist in those areas. Not only do we offer the training and advice, but if you want to sit down to talk about your business plan, right, and you're looking at financing, as I said before, it's one of the few institutions that's still open for lending right now, right? And notwithstanding the challenges with the pandemic, persons are still looking at buying stock. Sometimes they're looking at making changes to their stock preferences, and the co actually continues to lend, right? Or doors are still open in terms of even providing moratoriums at the start of your loan, right? So you're looking to take a loan with NEDCO, and rather than you start to pay the installment right away, right, we're able to offer you up to 3 months moratorium on your first payment, where you don't start paying until February. In this case, it will be like February, March, as the case may be, right? So there are different things that could be done to ameliorate the situation, right, to provide some level of relief. Our doors are still open for persons to apply for the Entrepreneurial Relief Grant, right? And out of the loan proceeds, for those who are doing loans with us, we try to ensure that you're getting some workshops, right, in your critical areas. Because when we sit with you and we discuss your business plan and proposal, we will see, and you will come to the realization that, I need some training in this area or that area. And we have packaged all of that so that when you sit with us, you get a full workshop, right, dealing with all the areas that you need development in. So out of that, you have a sense that NEDCO is actually partnering with you. And as we face an uncertain future for 2021, we see globally where there are glimmers of hope in terms of vaccines being created and so on, right? But we would have come through 2020 really battered and bruised. And my encouragement to us as entrepreneurs, right, in this sector of the economy, is to really re-encourage and re-motivate yourself. Look again at the opportunities, as Ms. Hadad would have said. Have your early discussions, right? Look at how you supply value to your customers, and hang in there, right? Because you would have chosen a path that few people, within the economy, most of us are salaried also, and you would have chosen a path based on the benefits and the value that it brings to you and to your family. Don't, because of COVID, decide that you want to, change course, right, or give up. But hang in there, work with us, and we're prepared to work with you. So that's my wrap on it, and then I'll return to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Before I go across to Ms. Hadad, can you just quickly go over again the special investment packages that we have on offer now? Because you said during your presentation that you would like to invite entrepreneurs to sit with their financial institutions to determine what facilities they offer and to assist on how this will assist them during the economic downturn. Now, NEDCO has put together some special packages to make this difficult situation more affordable for our entrepreneurs. So can you just quickly go over the packages?
Sure. So our starter package actually features one entrepreneurial training workshop, one business advisory session, and 3 webinars, right? That starter package can be paid for up to the proceeds of the loan. It's very affordable, $300. You actually get 5 interactions, as I said, workshops, advisory session, and 3 entrepreneurial webinars for just $300. But the thing about it is, what is covered in the workshop is so important. We look at things like costing and pricing, developing a business plan, excellence in customer service, record keeping and cash management, facilities management, social media strategy, tendering for contracts, and of course managing staff, right? And there are several other areas that we offer, right? Our light package offers 2 entrepreneurial training workshops, 1 business advisory session, 3 webinars. There's an advanced package at $900 that offers 3 workshops, right? Again, business advisory sessions and webinars, and finally an ultimate package at $1,200 that offers 4 entrepreneurial workshops, 3 business advisory sessions, and 3 entrepreneurial webinars. So you choose exactly what are the areas that you want to focus on, right? And so when you embark on that and you finish your whole sessions of advisory sessions, webinars, workshops, as the case may be, right? You will have been thoroughly developed. You have all your notes and stuff that you have been able to take. And what they do is that during those sessions, it's tailored for you and for your business. So you definitely end up much better off than when you would have started. Sorry, I think your mic is muted. Your mic is muted. Could you repeat?
Thank you. Thank you, Joseph. I'm busy talking. Yeah. So just to follow up on what Mr. Morrison just said, you all can also visit our Facebook and Instagram accounts, and you will find more details about our special loan packages, which start at $15,000, as well as our training and business advisory packages, which start at $300. So before we close, I just want to go back to Ms. Hadad. Ms. Hadad, we are so fortunate to have you here today with your depth of experience. You also sit in the chair in the seat of the chairman of the Tobago division of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. So I was wondering if you can just share a little bit more about how your experience has been, your personal experience, and in terms of some of the things that you as an entrepreneur have also had to pursue. Because as you said, it's about survival now. I mean, if we can make a profit, that is good. But the priority right now is to get through this difficult period. Ms. Hadad?
Okay, so let me tell you what I did, and it's not in the norm. So it may sound strange and weird to everybody. First of all, I don't deal in the vaccines and what we are waiting on. I am into naturopathic formulas and medicines, and I've been doing this for 30-something years. So because of it, I actually dealt with my doctor that I have been going to seminars, and I do a lot of this work for many years. And he created a formula called immune system. I don't have any in front of me. I actually showed it on television. And what I did was invested a lot of money in buying the formulas. I called all my staff out. I decided that COVID was not going to get me, but I was going to get COVID. And I brought my staff together. And what I did was a lot of training every morning. I had meetings every morning with my staff. We were considered necessary because we're in the food business and distribution. So we were considered necessary to be open. And I did have the fear factor to treat with because many people were afraid of coming out because the death factor was over everybody's head. So what I did was I had meetings explaining to them if we looked at it from a spiritual perspective, what we needed to do as human beings. So if it was the end of the world, we needed to make peace with our God. If it was not the end of the world and it's a new beginning in a different way, we needed to rise above what was in front of us and overcome it, because the human being is the most intellectual form on earth. And I had a lot of sessions like that. I dealt with the vibrations and the energies that we all live in. The universe has magnetism, it has vibrational forces. And so I explained the formulas and the medicines to them. It's not chemical, so it's natural. And my staff decided to buy into this crazy lady who they saw taking these formulas anyway for years, and they started to take it. And even what started to happen was they had different viruses that they will suffer from, stomach problems, sinuses. So they started to feel better for the things that they normally would suffer with. And that changed what I had as a staff. The other thing I did was I said to my staff, nobody has a specific job now. We are coming to work. I don't want to send anybody home. So nobody is the cleaner, nobody is the lorry man, nobody is the driver. And I said, the next thing we're doing is we're coming to work comfortable. So you can come in 3/4 shorts, you can come in socks and sneakers. And I wanted everybody to feel really comfortable with coming out. They must not have anything that created an inhibition or fear or fright. They bought into it. They started to come to work. We did a garden at the side of the building, and we started to plant peppers and okras, sweet peppers, you name it, celery side. We built a mobile kitchen in the meantime. My staff, we had moved warehouse, so who could have paint, we painted. Everybody took paint, brush, paint, who cleaned the toilets, who helped move stuff. We built racks. We got a welder to come in and he guided the process. So the staff became part of a physical change in the environment, because for me, I did not want to send anybody home and have them moneyless. So I spoke to my bankers and agreed that I needed to do moratoriums and pay salaries. I needed to make sure that people were paid. But the people who were coming to work had to do whatever we had in front of us to do. So we were just producing. We then started to take the things that we grew and we started to cook together. We bought stuff so that, because remember being out there, shops were closed and so there was nothing for them to go out and buy. So we got outside burners and we got big pots. And we started to cook and feed and laugh at each other, who could cook better than who. And of course, there will be days they couldn't make it. We had hungry bellies, so I will run home and show them how you cook faster than them. You know, the guys want to prove they could cook. So we did things like that, which created a lot of unity and spirit. And therefore, we were going till 11 o'clock in the night. Because if I give you, I have a store in Scarborough now called Aldi, which operates for both retail and break bulk for smaller stores to come and shop and get a good price. And that had just opened, and so there's a bakery there. So we had to go there for 4 in the morning. Then we had to leave, come down, see about dogs, whatever, head down to the office, open. When we're finished opening there, and I was driving the staff. I was picking up staff. We have 2 vans, so we were picking up staff so that they didn't have the fear of going in taxis and things like that. So that's how I dealt with it, Ms. Jordan. And I felt that I built a lot more camaraderie. I got people to buy into that. And then I think I have a much more beautiful staff for it now in terms of that. We painted the lines for the car park. We did everything that we would not normally do. But we made sure that every moment we used it well and contributed to society and the world by not encouraging fear. I then had my staff ask for tablets and for formulas for their families. So they started to give them to take. They came back and said the magic that they were seeing at home. And so I removed the fear. I have not had problems with attendance. I have not had problems. We have trucks in the night that come off the boat. So we actually work until 11 o'clock in the night. And the staff were there to do it. And so that's what we did.
That's excellent. I'm so glad. And I'm seeing from the comments being posted that other people also are appreciative of what you're sharing. Too often we neglect the staff, the HR component of a company, our staff, our backbone. And it's wonderful to hear you sharing the type of things that you did to keep your staff motivated. Because we know a lot of people are feeling fearful now, and I'm happy to hear that you addressed those concerns.
If I could, Francisca, my goal through COVID was not about business and money anymore. My goal through COVID was about us saving lives in terms of being together, not saving lives by hiding from a virus, because this is only one that will face us. There are many more to come. So my job, I felt as a leader and business owner, was to share my knowledge and my experience, both at my family at home, because I have a mother that's 81, my daughter who is 18, who was at least fearful as well. This was a new experience. And so I felt that I needed to be that for my family and my extended family, which are my staff.
And I see you are building a fan base. Someone just typed that they like you. Other comments are awesome, lady. Thank you so much. So it's great to know that we are connecting with our audience today. Thank you so much. I'm looking at the time. We are already over the time, and I know people have to go on with the day. But there are a few questions that have been posted in the chat that I would like Joseph, if you can just quickly handle this question, please. Someone is asking, Barbara Lewis Eversley is asking, does NEDCO have a skills bank of professionals who offer services in accounting, bookkeeping, legal, HR, etc., for a reasonable fee?
Jordana, if I could, just, if I could to just tell the audience, the chamber, if you become members, we have a special that they had on before, which I will ask for them to put it back on. You get a lot of assistance in terms of connectivity with all these services that you're asking for. Because in the chamber, we have accountants, we have people who do bookkeeping, and in the meetings, you actually have a lot of conversation, because Mr. Morrison would have represented Scotiabank in the chamber, so he understood, and he also served as a management team member. We have subcommittees on entrepreneurship and on things like that. So you join the committees, and do not think you do not have something to contribute. You can come and learn. So the chamber operates in 2 ways. It's not just for you. Because you are a business owner, I am entitled to speak like I went into the chamber very timid. I want you to understand that it is an opportunity for you to learn and grow. And therefore, we can look at you coming in and operating where you engage other people, you listen, you interact, and it stimulates the brain to get you going in another direction.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. And you could probably just post in the chat as we deal with 1 or 2 questions, Ms. Haddad, the contact information for persons who would like to join the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. So Joseph, I want to get back to you. If you can just deal with the question, you want me to repeat it again?
Right. So NEDCO actually, because of its vast network of entrepreneurs, which include the service providers that you would have that client would have asked about, are able to provide a very comprehensive network of mentorship, right? So the mentorship is not only within the context of staff at NEDCO providing mentorship, but persons within the network of NEDCO clients, both existing and past clients, right? We can go to, and we have a very rich network that you can benefit from when it comes to mentorship. So I hope that's first.
Yeah. And then we also have our essential foundation training courses, which cover a lot of these topics. We'd like to remind you also to visit our Facebook page after this webinar, where you'll have a lot of information you can find there on our training workshops. Mr. Morrison, someone is also asking, how do I raise funds as a sole trader? And I'm assuming this is someone, well, you can probably deal with it both as somebody who wants to begin and someone who's already existing.
Now, fundraising can be done from a variety of sources, right? Not only where you borrow, you seek to borrow and repay interest, but also there are sources like crowdfunding online. You can look at leveraging assets from your family and close friends, right? Towards a business idea. As a matter of fact, persons, once your business idea is really strong, people sort of really want to generally invest in what you have to offer. On the side of NEDCO, in terms of our lending, right? Our loans, we have the packages running from $15,000 to $75,000. Up to $50,000, you would be a loan that you could take without the need for a down payment, right? And the collateral is very flexible, so that even though it's 50% collateral, you can use things like appliances, cash, a combination of those things to assist. The thing is, lending institutions now will not generally the more established banks, they will not entertain persons who want to do a startup unless probably they're fully covered by collateral, right? But NEDCO will entertain those types of lending scenarios for sole traders, and we will hold your hand in terms of creating your business plan and make sure that you're really ready to borrow. It's not just, as we mentioned before, it's not just the raising the funds, but first you have to sit down and look at the areas I would have outlined, from leadership right down to your human resource, right? Your skills, your management, and all the things we spoke about. You have to have that in place before you even think about the funding. The funding generally tends to flow naturally once you have those other things in place, right? Because if you sit with us and after you flesh everything out, it's a viable proposal that will work, right? And you have everything work, you understand the business properly, you understand how you create value for your customers, right? And you looked at your suppliers and your customer base, the market area and the demand for your products and services, right? And you're confident that this plan could work. It means that that's a viable proposal that we're willing to support, right? So, trust that answers the question.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Well, I'm looking at the time, and so we would need. Oh, somebody's asking, can you repeat or type the info required before thinking about funding? What they can do, anybody who's interested or is thinking right now about the NEDCO's investment packages, like we said, they start at $15,000 a month. You can either go onto our Facebook page, there's an application link there, you can apply online, or you can contact any of our offices. You can call 821-5800. We have 5 offices, one in North, one in East, one in Central, one in South, and of course in Tobago. You can contact any of our offices or email training@nedco.gov.tt. As I close, Crystal or Tamara, can you just type the NEDCO information in the chat for me, please, as I close? So we will have to close now because it's already 1:58 p.m. I am having such a great time, but I know that you all have to go ahead with your day. So I want to extend a very big and heartfelt thank you to our corporate partners who co-hosted with us this week for our free educational webinars. That is Kariri, Costat, the Sangre Grande Regional Corporation, the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Together, we explored topics like opportunities in the 2021 budget for micro businesses, sustainable growth in the agro-processing and cottage industries. We looked at the mindset that is required to be an entrepreneur and other topics. A big thank you also to the hundreds of entrepreneurs who participated in our free webinars and our free business consultations this week. It was indeed an amazing week. To all the entrepreneurs who joined us today, thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to spend this hour with us. Well, more than an hour, but thank you. So do enjoy the rest of your Friday and do enjoy the rest of Global Entrepreneurship Week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.